Welcome back to Women's Wealth, The Middle Way, the show that answers your questions about work, money, and family. My name is Susan McGlory Michael, and I am the CEO and founder of Glen Eagle, a wealth management firm in New Jersey. Today I am joined with Jodi O'Donnell-Ames, founder of Hope Loves Company, the only nonprofit organization in the country dedicated to providing education and emotional support for children whose family members have been diagnosed with ALS. When Jodi's daughter was 2 years old, Jodi's husband, Kevin O'Donnell, was diagnosed with ALS. As Jodi cared for both her husband and her little girl, she found that there was a serious lack of resources for children whose parents were diagnosed with ALS. When Kevin died in 2001, Jodi knew she had to keep fighting. She served as Director of Communications for ALS Hope Foundation in Philadelphia from 2001 to 2003. And while working there, she met Warren Benton Ames, whose wife Tina had passed away from ALS in 2000. Warren and Jodi married in 2003, and she became the mother of Ames's 2 children. Inspired by the strength of the united family, O'Donnell-Ames founded Hope Loves Company. Jodi is an accomplished author, has been featured in People magazine, and has received several awards. She is a licensed massage therapist and an avid yogi. So thrilled to welcome you, Jodi.
And thank you so much for having me.
Jodi, I know that you gave a TED Talk in 2018 called Living Life with a Purpose. I listened to it one night and I was in tears. It was so beautifully done. What helped you find your purpose? Can you share that with some of our listeners today?
Absolutely. And thank you for taking the time to listen to it. You know, we all live a journey, and sometimes we are born with certain skills and characteristics that as we become adults, we think we should suppress. And I was invited to give the TED Talk by a friend, and it was timely because at the time I was really in a place with Hope Loves Company of transition and trying to grow it. It had been 8 years that I put into Hope Loves Company. And I wanted to kind of revisit my life with a purpose. Why I gave the talk and why I gave it on the Life with Purpose is because everything I have ever been or done in my lifetime, from being a mother, a wife, a caregiver, a writer, a teacher, an actor, culminated in this one mission, Hope Loves Company. You know, we all have things that take place in our lives. We're all vulnerable. We all have challenges. But when I was able to really look at who I was and be honest with the child I was, the teen I was, the adult I was, and embracing who I am as an individual with all my quirkiness, you know, the fact that I wear my heart on my sleeve, the fact that I care a lot, the fact that maybe I'm an empath and I cry at commercials, it makes me do what I do so well. I wanted to share the story of when I really avoided all the, you know, what you're supposed to be and who you're supposed to be, and just really looked at who I was as a person and being comfortable with that person. And everything started to open up.
Wow.
When I started to embrace who I was successful.
And you know, you went through so much in caring for someone you loved and watching them slowly fade away from you. How do you today and how did you then stay focused and grounded with all that you had to do with balancing family and then the ALS Hope Foundation? I know that it continues today, that balance. How did you do it then and how are you doing it now?
So every day I wake up and think of 3 things that I'm grateful for, and I focus on my 3 objectives. And my 3 objectives are to be a good human being, to make a difference in the world, and to progress the day and the mission further. So I focus on those things that will help complete my objectives. You know, doing something nice for someone, reaching out to a child and helping them in a challenge that they may have, calling my children, working hard, maintaining my health. These are all things that I focus on. And I also think about the fact that I am very fortunate to have a group of positive and inspirational people, and I focus on being around those people. I try to avoid drama and competition and gossip and all of that, and just really stay focused on what matters. And what matters is, to me, love and purpose, family, friends, and going to bed thinking that was a great day and I did the best that I could.
And you've given so much back to families through helping their children. And I think that sometimes when people are going through trials and tribulations, often the children don't even know how to ask for help. And I think that the one resource you have brought to light is that we have to focus on that and pay attention to that. And I can't tell you how much I admire that. But I agree with you, making a difference and advancing the mission so that in the future someone else may have not that it's not going to be traumatic and awful to go through an experience like ALS, but you can share with them maybe pathways that would make it a little less painful. Can I ask what advice you might give to a family that might be experiencing similar struggles in their lives, or might have children, or might have grandchildren? What advice would you give to a family that's going through that?
Well, my advice, obviously, is usually for families who are affected by ALS. Reach out to Hope Loves Company. We have free books. We have a website. We have many programs, Camp HLC, Hugs of Hope, to support the children. But really, my advice is universal for any family, because whether it's ALS or cancer or diabetes or, loss of a job, when families focus on communicating and being aware of the situation and also utilizing the resources available to them, finding a way to express their feelings in a safe environment, and also finding an outlet that can help them cope. So we stress at our programs to, if it's doodling that helps you with anxiety, if it's meditation that helps you with fear, if it's reading a book together every night and having a discussion and checking in, how are you feeling today? Is there anything I can help you with? But just being open and love above all. Love is how families can get through challenges. You can't say it any better than that.
And also to understand, you once, in a conversation, you once mentioned that one of the children actually were blaming themselves, and if it wasn't for being open and intuitive and listening, you might have missed that. And I think that's often so true, and what a gift you're giving back to helping children understand. But you might want to share that story. I remember you mentioning that the child said, I might have caused this, or I might have created this, and I think that's so traumatic for children to understand.
Yes, I agree, and it's a valid point, and I think that as parents, sometimes we think that because our children are doing their own thing and they're quiet and they're not saying anything that they're okay, that doesn't necessarily mean the truth. Sometimes they're afraid to speak up, or they feel guilty for complaining, or they're worried and don't want to worry you. So open communications and establishing that trust between parent and child is very, very important.
And how do you stay so focused and grounded? How do you get through every day? You are so involved in giving back. It's amazing, some of the activities that you do. I know that when you were just recently awarded and you had just flown in and you were flying back out, how do you stay focused and grounded? And also then, when you think about what you have done for ALS and the Hope Foundation, how do you keep it all in the grounded role?
Well, first of all, I have to establish my routine every day, and I try to stick with it. I get up very early. I have some peaceful time in the morning. I like to read and be inspired by what I'm reading. I exercise every day. I somehow squeeze it all in, but it does mean a very long day and a lot of hours, and I'm grateful that I have the energy to keep up with that schedule. I know I won't always. Regarding Hope Loves Company, which is my nonprofit, I think that anything that is put out into the universe to help others, there's just that fact makes it stay grounded. It doesn't matter, what television show we're on, what magazine we're in. Those are all just ways to spread awareness and to support additional children. The most important thing is that we've established something that we want to continue with integrity, with compassion. We want it to be revered. And as long as we're doing that, we can feel proud. And we will continue that. And having great people on staff who agree with your philosophy and approach to work and purpose makes it flow.
And the one thing that I always resonates with me whenever I hear you speak or whenever I'm talking to you is that you are so proficient at really recognizing those around you that help you with your goals. And you often remember to say thank you. And so I think that as women that are listening, I think it's a good reminder for all of us that you've accomplished a lot. But when I see you surrounded by other women and those in need, I think the one thing that you have been given the gift of is you really do recognize those that have helped you along the way, and you remember to say thank you. So from the bottom of my heart, I say thank you for joining us today and sharing your story, because I can't even imagine it not touching the hearts of those that are listening. You've overcome so much, and yet you are so positive. And I know that sometimes what did they say? You have to fake it until you make it. But within your heart, you have taken tragedy and turned it into triumph. And so I can't thank you enough for joining us today.
Well, thank you. And I agree. Being thankful and recognizing the blessings in your life is truly the beginning of success, because if you don't recognize all that is good, you can't celebrate it and you can't go from there. So I really appreciate this opportunity to be on Middle Way, and just to share Hope Loves Company's website, if anyone needs our services, is hopelovescompany.org. And if I can be of help to anyone in any way, I'm here.
Thanks for tuning into today's episode of Women's Wealth, The Middle Way. Make sure to subscribe to us and leave a review on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, or your favorite podcast app. Join us for new episodes every other Wednesday. See you in 2 weeks.